Hey y'all, welcome back to Voices of the Body, the podcast. It is me, it is I, it is love, Ashley Elaine. And I'm here to be your guide. As long as you keep choosing me, I'll be here to keep giving you what you need. This episode, we're talking about transitions and transformations and that big old gap in between the life we once knew and moving into the one that we desire, right? The one that we've done all the hard work for, all the healing work, all the changes and the letting go, all of it, right? This episode where I'm letting you guys eavesdrop really on a conversation that me and a dear friend of mine, Danny, were having just on your tribe, right? Like what it's like to, one, have a tribe of people that either like are able to tap into what you're like, what they're sensing for you in that space, right? That gap space, or both and not or, just really like people you can tap into, right? Like how important those relationships are during these times of transition, right? Because the brain is going to tell you some things that probably aren't true. There's going to be voices that are going to try and pop back up. There's going to be things that you hear internally that are going to try and like deter you, and you have to be very clear on those positive voices, right? And even God's voice, that's definitely a conversation. Well, I believe I did an episode on that, but right, really staying firm and grounded in that tribe of people. So go ahead and prepare your mind, body, and soul as we tap into this episode. Record.
There we go. There we go. Now we're getting it.
My God. No, but like, I mean, and yeah, like, because in June, I mean, this makes sense to talk about, right? Because June is there's that one random day where it's like International Day of Yoga or something. Who created that?
I don't know. No one who was doing yoga, I guarantee. Anyone who's doing yoga is too busy to like be like, let's make a holiday.
Let's make a holiday where everybody around the world does what they already do every single day.
Right? You know that someone in the yoga community, let's make a holiday. Guys, can we make a holiday? And everyone else is like in downward facing dog, like, yeah, okay.
Just do it. Leave us alone. Right.
You let me know when, I guess.
Right. No, but like, yeah, I thought about that. Like sometimes I sit and think about that, right? Like yoga, when I tell people that yoga has changed my life, it's like sometimes I'm like, okay, has it? And then I'm like looking at everything and it's like it actually like really has.
Yeah.
Like all these different domains, right? Like it, like I always say, I always share, like, especially when I'm working with teenagers, like how before I started doing yoga, every time I would get angry, like my stomach would fucking boil. Like,
Yep.
like I just needed to like throw something. I was never a fighter. That was never my thing.
Right.
But it was like that the minute I got angry, I was ready to just like, oh, there's so many broken cups in my lifetime, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, like now looking back, I can see that like once I started doing yoga, there was like this awareness that started coming up where it's like, oh, I'm angry, but my stomach doesn't hurt. Oh, why am I paying attention to that? And then it's like, oh, wait, like I'm paying attention. Oh, wait, like I'm connected to. Wait a minute. This happened also very fast.
It's like all of a sudden you look around and go, oh, shit.
I'm in the Matrix.
Oh, shit. It all connects, Batman.
Literally, it's crazy. And I think even like this conversation, right? Like connecting you to the right people.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of people. I know like maybe three, right?
Uh-huh.
People that are doing yoga and are like there's no healing, right?
Yeah, there are people, and to be fair, like I try really hard not to push those people to like understand the full picture, right? Because we all got to get there on our own time. That's fine.
Right.
But yeah, there are people who think it's a workout, and I'm like, oh, that's cute. Yeah.
Ilk.
No, I know. And yet, I also try to remember, like, okay, wait a minute. Like, I got into yoga to like connect with my body,
Yeah.
and then it led to this, right? So I'm just trying to be really patient. But I do feel like it does have this way of putting you around the right people
Yeah.
and putting you around the people you need in order to get to the next step that you're doing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's such an authentic, like yoga's gonna expose you to like it's gonna expose your authenticity, like
Mhm.
where your level of authenticity is.
Yeah.
So when that gets exposed, then like other people who are walking in their authenticity see that, and it's like, oh, you're authentic. Oh, you're cool. Oh, you're like you want to be friends?
And it's just, and there is like, when you find the right people in the space, it is a little bit like, oh, thank God, where have you been?
Literally. Okay, so welcome to Voices of the Body. We've already been talking. As you all know, I'm in this series this month where I'm talking about like all these different recipes, right, for those seasons of transition and transformation, because those seasons are hard.
Ugh,
They are gross. They are,
icky.
did I say hard? Yes. Um, did I say hard again? Yes.
Yeah.
Um, they are lonely,
Oh
right?
God.
Yeah, and I
Ugh, fuck.
yeah, and today was one of those days where I needed to, like, there's a lot of these different moments that I've had where it's like, okay, like in one episode, I talked about how, like, the minute I said yes to this new adventure, there were these spaces where it was like, okay, now send this email to tell them you can't do this anymore. End that, stop that, do this, do that. And it was like very quick, right? It's that meme that we see on Instagram where it's like, God's like,
Don't let go of
okay,
my hand.
yeah, don't let go, don't let go,
Why
let
are you
go,
slipping?
let go. Like, well, God, there's rocks and stuff. Like, and I'm barefoot and I'm still in
Yeah.
my pajamas. Like, you just drug
Yeah.
me out here.
Yep.
Um, and today was one of those days where I needed to cut the cord. I don't know how else to like downplay that. Um,
Yeah.
and my good friend, my sister from another mister, Miss
Yeah.
Miranda, was my doula for that. Um, is that the yeah, like yeah,
I mean, I feel like it, kind of.
yeah, yeah.
Although you should call me Danny.
Danny, yes. Yes, because I'm gonna give you all her Instagram and her website, all that jazz. You know, Zoom says Zoom says a different name.
Oh, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
My bad.
I always get
My bad.
thrown off. It's fine
I know.
because it happens to me all the time. My last interview was with a friend that I've known for like 20 years and completely said her name wrong. And she was like, so this is the constant debate. And I was like, and I know that, but for some reason, like I looked at your name and was like, oh, I think she think she changed
I
the
know.
way she spells her name. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is Danny.
Yes.
Yes, when I met her, we met in Costa Rica for my yin teacher training. Like I tell y'all all the time, I go to the playground and bring home friends.
Yeah.
Literally, right? We go on the playground and push each other around on the swings and that little merry-go-round thing, and then I bring them home. Um, she had pink hair when when I saw her.
Yeah.
And I remember we were all like waiting for everybody to like meet up where Inca's shop was. And I just
Mhm.
remember looking at her and I was like, bro, she's got pink hair. I think I just met. I
Yeah.
think I just found my sister. Like there was such a big energy that I felt from you. And I was just like, where the hell she's
I
been?
use that shit as a beacon. Lots of people are like, because if you don't like it, that's fine. I don't want to talk to you anyway.
Right.
Don't, it's not for you. Move along.
Move
If you're
along.
into it, let me know.
Right,
We
right.
should
And
talk.
then we could be friends. We could be
Yeah.
friends. It's cool.
Mhm.
So yeah, like this episode we're gonna be like really just diving into your tribe, right? What does that look like? What does that feel like? And how important like having those people around during like those seasons of transition and transformation, because anybody that has gone through a spiritual awakening, a transformation, right? And this is me, this same room that I'm sitting in now, like eight 8 years ago I got baptized again.
Aw.
My first journal entry when I got home was, what is transformation? And God was like, yeah,
No.
yeah.
Oh, are you listening?
Oh yeah, you ready? Okay, let's do this. And I was just
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. All right. Got it. And now
Yeah.
we're here. So we circled the block and have learned what transformation is. And now we're moving forward into that a
Yes.
transformative space. Um, but yeah, like so as you guys were tapping in, I'm probably not gonna edit.
Fuck. Oh well.
I
Oops.
hate
Ah.
I It's fine. It's fine. I hate having to edit because I'm just like, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like keep it a
It's a
buck.
conversation. Stick around or don't.
Right. So like we were just talking, like I think that's what makes a lot of this space easier is like having people like you around, right? Being able to dive deeper into these hard spaces, these hard conversations. And it's easier because we're both in that same, I don't want to say field. I feel like field is yoga's not a field. Like, but we're both in that same realm of
Yeah.
service, shall I say.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's like I don't know, would you like maybe like a level of understanding, and we're back.
Oh, good. Yes.
We're back. It like it's gonna keep everything still.
Good.
Yeah, so so tell me about like your own experience with like your transformation and how important like having that circle was for you.
Listen.
The agony.
Listen. So I I think, oh, okay. I'm gonna tell you how it was. I think one of the things that's super important to know and realize is that like there is going to be a chunk of this, uh, anyone who's on the brink of transformation or in the beginning of transformation, there is going to be a chunk of this where you're going to feel really alone.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
And you have to keep going to get through it, to get to the other side, to find your people so you don't have to do it alone anymore.
Yeah.
But the second you start growing, the people around you, a lot of them will start to kind of fall away because you're growing in a very specific direction.
Yeah.
And that causes them to fall out of harmony or whatever for what you're working towards.
Yeah.
My transformation, like I moved clear across the country. So I really didn't have anyone, really. Not yeah. I feel like one of the things that has been really real for me is and one thing that this sort of yoga space has allowed me to do is to find my people, because
it's hard.
yeah,
It's hard.
and there's no cutting corners around it, right? Like, because the people that you keep around you, the voices that you keep around you,
Yeah.
like, they're going to be like your cheerleaders, right? Or they're going to be your dead weights. And I don't know, you are going to edit because I have a lot of thoughts rolling around in my head.
It's fine.
I know, but like in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, she said she's not going to edit. Oh my God, what are you going to say next?
But I mean, like, it's so true though, because I often think about like the space that I'm in now, and like a lot of what I'm coming out of and moving into, right? It's like I'm so used to, there's a level of unknown that I'm used to, but it's like, oh, I know this pattern of unknown, right? It's like I'm familiar with these cycles. I'm familiar with these repetitive behaviors in my friendships, in my relationships, in my communication with certain family members, like all these things, right? Like we don't know, but we know, right? Like there's a familiarity
Yes.
with a specific unknown, like a past unknown, right? And it's like, to now be in a space where like you can feel the gap between what you've been healing, right? What you're choosing to walk away from, and what you want for yourself. But you have no idea what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like, who's going to be, like literally harming.
Oh God.
And it's like sometimes there's spaces where, especially like recently, where I'm like waiting on this other shoe to drop, right? And I was like, earlier I was thinking about that, and I was like, is it really another shoe that I'm waiting to drop, or is it the kind of shoe that I'm waiting to drop, and what happens when the shoe drops, right? It's like I've been doing the work, right? I'm in this space of transition, and I know what's coming, but I don't know what's coming. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it feels like, but like I'm ready for it, right?
But you trust yourself.
Yes. Yes.
And I feel like there's a way in which that chunk of time that you kind of sort of be alone during transformation is so that you learn to trust yourself. So that it doesn't matter what it looks like. Yeah. Doesn't matter. I'll be fine.
Yeah. 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 And so it's that part of the tribe, right? Like you come, like, so now that additional voice, right, that says, girl, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
You got this. You're able to do and handle whatever is coming next, right? And it's not so, and I think this is where this is like that trauma brain starts to pop in, right? Because it's like, well, voices before would tell me, oh, you only talk to people that are going to tell you what you want to hear. But it's like, nah,
No.
because Danny just yelled at me
I've
last
told lots
night.
of my friends lots of shit they don't want to hear.
Like, she's been telling me stuff I didn't want to hear since I met her. Like, don't quit your job. I'm quitting
Oh,
my
it's blinking
job.
out.
It will come back. Um, like,
Yeah.
yeah. And like, even last night when we were texting, like, you got on me and was
Yeah.
like, you need to write that letter to yourself. And it was like,
Yep.
okay, I need to do that. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's it's the it's what do you feel when these people say things to you, right?
Yep.
That's the tribe.
Yep.
That's the tribe.
It is my responsibility as your friend to help you grow into the person that you tell me you want to be.
Mm.
Period.
Mm. Mm.
Which means
Ooh.
right, which means I'm not going to enable any of this any of these patterns that you're trying to put down. That's not helpful.
Yeah.
We can sit and we can commiserate for it, for a little bit, and I can tell you everything's okay. And then I'm going to tell you a bunch of shit that you don't want to hear
Yeah.
because it's my job to help you grow into the person that you tell me you want to be.
Mm. And that's what makes some of this journey very lonely,
Yeah.
because when you are serious about growing and healing and releasing and like attaining and achieving, and like you keep having this vision of something bigger for yourself, then there's good, like that space of being by yourself, right? You need that because it's like, okay, well, all these people keep saying they want to do these things, but they're not doing anything to do it.
Right. Yep.
And it's not even a matter of like, oh, we're not doing the same thing, right? Because if you want to be if you wanted to be a doctor and you're like, oh,
Right.
like I want to go to med school, then I'm gonna be on your ass about like, okay, like did you study for whatever test you need to do the exam? Did you apply? Did you do all
Yeah.
those things, right? It's it's your responses to that and your behaviors that match,
Yep.
that then tell me, okay, no, like I need to rearrange you, right?
Right.
Both, and it's also when I tell you this is what I want to do, what your response is to that. And it's like that then will get you like cut off.
Yeah.
And I think people are so afraid of being alone that they don't understand that a lot of the friendships and relationships, even with family, is what's kind of keeping them stagnant.
Yeah. And the reason and like you said, that alone time, what that does is it allows you to hold that idea for yourself.
Yeah.
And as soon as you are able to hold that idea for yourself, the universe will put people in your life that you can have them help you hold it while you make it real.
Mm.
Because holding it by yourself and doing it by yourself is really, I don't feel like it's really possible. I feel like
It's,
you have to have people around you
yeah.
willing to help you hold that idea.
It's not
Because
sustainable.
right, because
Yeah.
you need the energy to make that idea happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like when they say teamwork makes the dream work, it's a very real statement. Very
Right.
real statement. Like, and I think even like, oh, this is another episode definitely want to tap into, right? Like really talking about the trauma of hoarding
Mm,
your visions and your dreams, right? It's like I don't want anybody else to help me because trust issues
right.
and past abuse and like issues with authority, whether it's like you not respecting authority or you know what I'm saying, like the
Yeah.
abuse of power, like whatever that looks
Yeah.
like, feeling like you don't need a mentor, feeling like you don't need a coach, right? All of these different things, like there's a lot to be said about that. I literally, and then but then it's like when you talk about sustainability, right? Then it becomes a thing where okay, I keep seeing this vision growing, right? And so now your vision becomes a burden
Right.
instead of production and fun. And
Right.
so it's like, why am I doing all this healing work?
Right.
Trying to release burdens of people and all these other things that have happened if I'm only going to move into like now making a life that I've dreamed of become a burden.
Yeah. No.
Make it make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Because, and that's why you need other people around you to help you hold that idea. Because if you're trying to do both, hold it for yourself and do it for yourself, it becomes a burden.
Absolute burden. Yeah.
Yeah. And as long as you're sitting there with trust issues and I don't need a mentor and I don't want people to steal my shit and all this stuff, that's fine. The universe is not going to put anyone in your life to help you hold that. Period.
Mm-mm. 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 Mm-mm.
Because you've got other shit you need to deal with by yourself
Literally.
before it's going to put anyone in your life.
That's why I'm so big on like getting leaders, like people that are in leadership positions and like leading their industry, leading their field, business owners to really like engage in that healing work, right? And like and building awareness around their behaviors because and I said this before to somebody, it's cool that everybody like you don't need a degree to build a business, right? You don't
Right.
need you like every like it's cool that everybody has an opportunity to build a business.
Yeah.
It's also not cool that everybody has an opportunity to build a business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you can be so unhealthy and make so much money and treat people like complete crap,
Mm-hmm.
take advantage of people, spend the money on like stuff that doesn't even matter,
Mm-hmm.
have nobody around you be able to tell you the truth about you, or even if they try to, it's like you've you know what I'm saying? Like you've paid them off, not paid them off, but like, oh, you have money, like you could
Yeah.
just buy them whatever, and it like it's not even gonna phase them. But
Yeah.
then there's this other side of like doing the healing work so that you can be a very effective leader
Yeah.
and
Yep.
create change in that industry, in that circle of people, your network, whatever that is, right? Because and I posted this on Facebook the other day, if you're not like creating a wave for the people around you to grow, then what are you doing?
Yeah. Yep.
So it should be like that in your friend circle, right? Like seeing like meeting Carly and seeing like I remember clear as day sitting there at the table. I think it was dinner, lunch, pick a meal. We
Yep.
were eating and I was like, "So where are you from?" She's like, "Oh, all over." I was like, "Tell me more."
Yeah.
Like,
Really?
what does this mean? Like, what do you
Huh.
like what? And literally she left from there and was going to Morocco
Yeah.
to travel and teach. And I was just like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And even like we were standing under that waterfall and you just kept saying this is the life that you are creating for yourself. Like this is
Here
your
we
new
are.
life.
Here we are.
Here we are, yoga
For
wise.
life. By the way, that's what I kept saying to you while we were there. I was like,
Yes.
look, there's monkeys out there. Look, we're standing under a waterfall in Costa Rica. This is just your life, by the way. This is just Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday and we're in
Yep.
Costa Rica, like watching monkeys, 800 monkeys swing from Brant. Like,
Because
what?
there's something that's really important when you're in this space of transformation. Lots of people forget because they're so focused on where they're going that they forget where they're at
Mm,
and where they've been.
mm, mm,
Right?
mm-hmm.
Like just try to tell, me from Nebraska, me from 7 years ago. Just I wouldn't be, she wouldn't believe me, period.
Yeah.
And there are times when that's easy to forget.
Mm,
You know what I mean? And that's why it's important to have friends around you who are like, listen, stop it.
yeah.
Look at this problem that you're having right now. Real quick. Can we just look at this quote unquote problem that you think you are having right now?
The problems that we prayed for,
Yeah.
the
Yep.
problems that we did this intense healing work for,
Mm-hmm.
the problems that we went to therapy like twice a
Ugh,
week.
so much. The shit we cried about, the shit we pulled apart, and the shit we wrote in our journals about, like, okay, don't forget, don't forget to appreciate, where you're at while you're doing the work to get to where you're going.
Yeah, and that I believe that's why that waterfall moment in Costa Rica was that powerful.
Yeah.
Like like it was the waterfall, right? And already what that symbolizes, because who doesn't want to be in a
Yeah.
waterfall in another country,
Seriously.
right?
Yeah.
And then like hearing you say over and over again, this is your new life. This is your new life. And I'm just like, this is my new life. And like taking that in and then
Yeah.
realizing I just went from Peru to Costa Rica. All like,
Oh, you dropped out with the audio. Can't hear you.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I like, and then like just realizing, and I know people are sick of me talking about Peru and Costa Rica, but there's a method to my madness as to why I keep talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's reasons why I share so much about like what I've gone through,
Mm-hmm.
and to allow people to see like, listen, you don't have to stay in that shit. It's all choice at the end of the
You
day.
don't.
Yeah. So I stress the
Mm-hmm.
fact that about Peru and Costa Rica, because it's like for so long I've just always had this thing where it's like I want to travel the world. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know whatever work I do is going to allow me to travel the world.
Yeah.
I got a passport during the pandemic.
I love that.
Like I thought I was going to Jamaica, and then the pandemic was like, nah, boo. Like we're
Oh,
like the
you got
pan
work to do still.
like listen, like for real. But I have my passport. So I was like, well, whenever this is over, I'll be using it, right? And then it's like you think about family and all of their stuff. It's like, well, what about this? What about that? I was like, I don't give a damn about none of this stuff.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know how
Um,
I'm like, I don't know what's going to take me out of the country to see this world, but like when it clicks,
mhm,
I will do it. And to know that yoga is what did that for me,
mhm.
it's like, what?
I feel like, okay. So I feel like there is a way in which yoga and God and spirituality and all of that stuff invites a power into your life
Mm.
that encourages you to choose you,
Mm.
period. Not anyone else. Choose you. And there are so many people in so many ways and so many things in our lives that try to get us to not do that.
Mm.
A job, you know, shitty friends, shitty family members, shitty situations that try to get us to not choose ourselves.
Yeah.
And by inviting these higher powers in and these spiritual practices in, that calls in a power that wants you to choose yourself. And the more you do that, just little pieces at a time too, man. Little pieces. You don't have to drop everything you're doing and go to Costa Rica. Do it if you can. You don't
Right.
need you don't need to. Find a way you can choose yourself today. And then go find yourself some friends that are going to tell you to choose you.
Yeah, that's the missing piece.
Even if
Is
it inconveniences them. Period.
yeah. Yeah.
Even if they really want you to come to California. Don't care.
Right. Yeah. That's that missing piece is, do you have people around you that are going to tell you to choose you?
Mhm.
Because there are people that like the broken version of you,
Yep.
the version that is always taking up time,
Mhm.
dropping what you're doing, and you know what I'm saying? Like there's those friends that are just like, oh, well, this is where I'm at. You need to be here with me also.
There are friends who like the broken version of you
Yeah.
and who only know how to relate to the broken version of you and are afraid to lose you if you grow.
Oh. Mm.
And like people, I feel like if we could all just assume that everyone is doing the best they can, I feel like we'd get a lot further in the world.
Yeah.
But there are friends who like the broken version of you, and there are friends who only know how to relate to that version of you because they themselves are broken and are afraid that in your growth they will lose that connection.
Yeah. Mm. I had a best friend. I met her when I started college, and that was a long time ago. Although it feels like it. But so 2005 up until like maybe right before, no, in the middle of the pandemic. Yeah. And like 2000, end of 2020. And well, no, moving into 2021. God, that feels like it was so long ago. And I just kept feeling something, right? That was just like, something's not clicking here anymore, right? I just
Yeah.
moved into my new apartment, and I was just like, something is just not, but I have
Mhm.
no words to like really articulate what it is. At like, if you asked me to put my finger on it, I couldn't put my finger on it, but something was just like, it's like a it's like it's like a sentence that like you don't know what kind of punctuation to put at the end.
Yeah.
So all I remember feeling was, I need to have a conversation with her before she comes to visit, because I don't want her to get here and I get all like weird and awkward, because I'm not a person that can hide that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's nasty, right?
Yeah.
And I called her and I was like, I can't really explain what I'm feeling, but there's like a heaviness, and it feels like Danny, when I tell you I didn't know how to articulate this at all. I
Mhm.
was struggling, but I just knew that there was something that needed to like kind of end. But I was like, I don't think it needs to end. Maybe we just need to have a conversation. But then I'm like, I don't even know what the conversation is supposed to be, right? And then all of a sudden she's like, so why don't you get rid of the burden? And I was like, well, I'm trying to figure out what the burden is. She's like, the
Yeah.
burden is me. And she was like, why don't you just get rid of it? And then hung up. So I was like,
And then
okay.
you feel better and you're like, oh shit.
Literally. And so I think like there was some guilt that kind of went with that because it's like, I don't even know. Like
Yeah.
I like sometimes I still don't have words for it, but now looking back, I noticed there was like that's when things started to change. There was a lot of like people just starting to exit my life,
Yeah.
and I was being pulled out of certain like places and relationships because of like jealousy that I could see but was trying not to see it.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, all right, like you don't, God was like, you don't want to see it? Cool. I'll make sure like I take care of it for you. Cause if you stick around, like it's gonna hurt. And then like started having dreams about it, right? So that's when like the transformation really started because when you ask for change, you have to be ready for everything to change,
Mhm.
right? Like I just saw a post on Instagram and it was like people want the rebirth but they don't want the death.
Yeah.
So what do you think you're going to walk into this new life with all your old shit
Does not work. That does not work.
like relationships. Like I started this like we started out like you helped me through a cord cutting today.
Yeah.
And as emotional as it was, like I know that was like the final residue of what I needed to let go of because what I'm moving into is going to require so much more of my presence
Yep.
and staying connected to that cord was not going to help me. And it was and this cord was like a long ass cord. Like this cord was long. So
Yep.
even after we hung up earlier, I just sat in whatever, I just sat in the space. I just sat in the space and just let whatever needed to be. And I didn't realize it, but my journal, like the whole time we were talking earlier, my journal was open to blank pages. And I was like,
Mm.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm. So I don't like, so now when I look back, looking at like everything up to now, I'm okay with losing that friend.
Yeah.
Because if losing that one friend made room for like the 20 something people that I just met that I'm still in contact with, still in communication with, right? Like you've made it into my pin topped on my
Yeah. Yeah.
phone. Like like you know what I'm saying? Like if losing that one friend created all this space,
You gotta make space.
and people don't realize like that one relationship, that one friendship, that one family member, that one job like could be the one thing that needs to be released to make all the room in the world for exactly what it is that you need.
Yeah. And
Because if it wasn't for me getting rid of that one friend, right? Getting rid of that one relationship, me and you wouldn't have met.
yeah.
I wouldn't have met Carly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be headed to Cambodia.
Right. Yeah. I feel like it's important that the concept of making space in your life for people, for the right people, is important.
Yeah.
And I also feel like there is a way in which I've had to do that with lots of people in my life, for sure. And even the relationships that I do still have, I have had to overhaul. Right. And there's a way in which, because I have two friends that I've had since high school. They're twins and I love them dearly, and I love their kids dearly, and we're not, I mean, we're not friends anymore. Right.
Yeah.
We're just like non-negotiables essentially in each other's lives.
Yeah.
And but there was a time when I was growing and I was going through that ick and that pain of growing, and I noticed our relationship start to change. And I could see in them the panic that created, because they love me and their kids love me.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to lose that.
Yeah.
And thank goodness I had done the amount of growing that I had and was able to see and recognize, because like it's not because they were like grounded and centered and telling me these things.
Right.
They were lashing out and I was like, oh, I see. And the way we sort of shifted is like we find a joy in each other's joy now. That's where we find the most joy in our relationship, because like they don't do yoga, and there's lots of ways that I'm not going to be able to connect with them over a lot of stuff that's super important to me.
Yeah.
And there's a way in which like that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Because they have agreed and they celebrate my growth. They don't know what yoga nidra is. They don't. Girl, they could not be more excited for me to go to Costa Rica. They're like, we don't know what that is, but we are so happy for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
In the same way that like Holly is a dog groomer and Jeannie owns a scuba diving business. And like, I've never had an interest in grooming dogs.
Yeah.
But you better believe I have been to dog grooming shows because I'm a good friend and I see her joy and I see her finding joy in it. And that brings me joy. Scuba diving's cool. I don't know that I would have ever really pursued it, but you better believe I am open water certified now.
Yeah, that's so dope.
Because I choose to find joy in what they are finding joy in. And the best friendships that you have in your life will be based on that piece. Celebrating each other's growth and finding joy wherever they are finding joy.
Yeah. And that's what I've recently learned about just relationships, period, right? Is we don't have to be doing the same thing at all. It's a matter of like, you make me extra happy when you're happy about what I'm happy about.
Yeah.
Right. So there's another friend that I met her in college also. Like all three of us, there was a fourth one. She passed away my senior year. But like all of us met freshman year, right? So me and the best friend don't talk anymore, but me and this other friend, like we've had our ups and downs, our back and forths. But like now we're in a space where we sit and talk on the phone for like 3-4 hours and it feels like 20 minutes. Right. And it's like, Ashley, I'm so proud of you. Like, you know, she doesn't do yoga, like none of, you know what I'm saying? Like none of that. She's like, I'm so motivated by like seeing you just keep going. And like, I'm excited for you. Just like, you know, make sure you like all these things. And it's like, I love that. Like she gets promoted at work and it's like, girl, I'm so proud of you. I don't ever want to go back to a 9 to 5.
No.
Right. But I
That's
love
okay.
that for her because this is what she's working for.
Yep.
This is what she aspires to do. Like whatever. So it's like like I've just like I'm learning relationship through all of these wonderful people that I've just met, and it hasn't even been a year yet.
Yeah.
That's
Isn't that cool?
that's crazy and cool at the same time. But
Yeah.
it's like, so when I think about like significant others now, right? It's like, oh, it should be the same way.
Oh God, yes. Yes. Don't partner with anyone who can't be excited about your growth. Just don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And don't partner with anyone who wants you to choose them over you. Just don't
Mm-mm.
do it.
Yeah.
Because there's enough shit in the world that's trying to get you to not choose you.
Yeah.
Because when you have done this much growth, why the fuck would you waste your time partnering with someone who's going to try and get you to choose them?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
And and don't kid yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It is out there.
Yeah.
If you are patient enough, if you are patient enough, it is out there. Sometimes there is a way in which people will compromise because they don't want to be alone. And I get that. I really do. I
I
really do.
love being by myself.
No, I know, right? Isn't that kind of fucked? Like the more you grow, the more you realize how much you actually like being by yourself. So like it doesn't
Love
actually,
it. But
yeah.
that's always a problem like with anybody I'm with. It's like I just need like a smooth hour to maybe 3 days by myself,
Yeah.
depending on the mood. Like I just
Yep.
need I need
Yep.
I need that time. I need that time.
And find someone that respects that and is okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I I a lot of times will look at my house and be like, I'm gonna go get an Airbnb for like 2, 3 days. Like, okay, I love you. Like, and there's also times when he's like, well, I'm gonna go up to Mount Shasta 3 or 4 days sooner than you. Okay, I love you.
I love that.
Yeah.
But it was like that in my in some of my friendships too. Right? It's
Yes.
like we have to
Yes.
talk all the time. We have to like it just it became a lot. It became a lot. So in hindsight, right, I can see patterns of
Mhm.
people and patterns of how much I give away,
Yeah.
right, in certain spaces. And it's like I might not be giving away money all the time, right? But energy and time is like the biggest commodities.
Yeah, man.
And on top of that was a single mother, so it's like
Yeah.
and then really work like moving into this space of okay, I want my own business. I want to teach more yoga.
Yeah.
I want to figure out what this thing is that I'm supposed to be doing because this going to work every day thing is not it.
Yeah.
Right. And like, so it's like being in that space and then having people pull on you all the time. It's like, I don't actually want to like
Oh,
be pulled on right now.
no. And there is a way to be present in someone's life without needing to pull on them. People pull because they're anxious.
Mm, mm,
I know you love me if it's been a week or a month or 2 months or 3 months since we've talked. I know you
yeah.
love me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and send a text message, make sure you're okay. And
Yeah.
if you tell me you are, I'll believe you maybe 8 times out of 10
Right. Yeah.
because I know you love me, and we'll get back around to it.
Yeah. Hmm.
You have to have people in your life that will respect your space, that celebrate your growth, and that can find joy in your joy.
Yeah. Yeah. And help you filter out, because, well, not and, period, on what you just said.
Yeah.
They will help you filter out those voices, right? Because that's a pivotal space in this gap area, right? Like I can feel the gap. It's so heavy.
Ugh.
Yeah, like this gap space is that space where all these voices are now like trying to, oh girl, you done messed up your life. Oh, this isn't what you're supposed to be doing. You need to just go do this. You need to go do that, right? And then if you're like healing childhood stuff also, right? There's some parental figures voices that drop into my head and be like, they're like all of those things, right? So having the right people, right? That tribe, there's going to be voices that you hear that are theirs that are confirming to the body and the soul,
Mm-hmm.
right? Those voices are going to help realign you.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not, oh, I just want to be around people that are going to tell me what I want to hear. It's I need to be around people that are going to tell me the truth, be authentic, but also affirm me.
My job as your friend is to hold the purity of your vision without the bullshit in your head.
Yeah.
I don't hear those voices. Those aren't my voices. Those are your
Yeah.
voices.
Yeah.
It is my job to hold the purity of your vision without the bullshit of your other voices.
Yeah.
And when you come to me and say, remind me again what it is I'm doing, okay,
Yeah.
this. Remember this? Remember how excited you are about this thing? Remember how we're doing this thing, how you're making this thing happen, how you're growing in these ways? And your friends should be the type of people that when all of the negative voices start to really turn up, they're the ones who are able to sort of look at you and, to like cover your ears and be like, come with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's a gate, right? Like those ears are a gate. So you have to like surround yourself around people that are going to help you understand the severity of protection needed to cover those gates,
Yeah.
right? So gut checking me when I say certain things because our words are powerful, right? Covering those ears, making sure that I'm paying attention to my vision board. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like the things that I truly want to see, right? Getting on my yoga mat, journaling, doing those things when we're in these certain spaces, because that transition and transformation space is hard.
Yeah.
It's
Did you know?
hard.
Did you know that when a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, when it cocoons itself, it literally liquefies before it then reconfigures and reforms into a butterfly.
Did not know that.
Which means like if you this is morbid. If you pinched a cocoon, it would be caterpillar soup
Blech.
because that caterpillar does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
And in order for it to turn into a butterfly, that caterpillar has to not exist as a caterpillar anymore, and it completely liquefies before
Mm.
it then reconfigures and reforms and emerges as butterfly.
Did not know that.
Yeah. I don't know where that's going to fit into all this, but there you go. Found that. There you go.
Well, and I've been saying this a lot that isn't that like the chrysalis Like when I think about plants, I think about photosynthesis, like that, something with the like the all of that, right? Like there's a breaking before the blessing.
Yeah, there has to be.
There
Otherwise, there's not room for the blessing.
right. Because then you're just toting all this stuff with you. And it's always like it's like that saying, make sure you're prepared, you're ready for what you prayed for, right? And I feel like
Or
that was my test this past week, right? The phone call I told you I had last
yeah,
Monday. Literally after that, all of my like the money I was waiting on to buy my ticket to Cambodia like hit my account. So I was joking with Dee on the phone when I talked to her later that night. I was telling her about that conversation and I was like, yeah, I feel like God was like, she's ready, dump in the money.
I mean, like the universe is just sitting there looking at you, waiting to date the check. As soon as you're ready, she is gonna date that shit and send it your way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not a second before.
Not a second before. Right. Because even all the things that I had to let go that I was doing, like actively doing in this space, right? Because my mind was just like, okay, well, I still need to make money. And
Yeah.
then it was like, well, I'm going to give you that same opportunity somewhere else, but you don't have to worry about X, Y, and Z, right? So, and you know what? I remember I was teaching a yoga class and I was in the middle of everybody was in Shavasana and I was in I do shoulder presses for my people and then like
Yeah.
protection around their crown. Yeah. And I was in the middle of doing it to a guy that was in my class and I remember hearing a voice say like there's a decision that needs to be made. And I was like, oh, there's a message for him. Like, and then
Yeah.
I went to the girl next to him and was doing her shoulder press. And then I heard the voice say again, there's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
You're going to be fine either way.
Right.
And so this was before even like confirmation of Cambodia. This is just like Cambodia's in the air now, but like it's here, right? So after the class, I went up to him. I was like, hey, so I have a message for you.
Don't you always feel like a little crazy doing that?
Yeah,
I do it too. But I'm like, listen, I know how weird this sounds, but
just a little bit. But then
yeah.
after I tell him the message, I'm like, wait a minute. I don't think that was for him.
I love it when she does that.
I was like, that was for me.
Yeah.
Like all the next few days after that, I'm like agonizing over the decisions. And like, I'm just like, oh, I haven't seen him in class since.
Yeah.
Which is fine, right?
Yeah.
Like he wasn't like my class schedule had changed, so I wasn't like I stopped expecting like the same people to show up all the time because of the way my schedule kept changing. But it was just funny because I was just like, oh, I have a message for you. Come to find out, like it was for me. And I was just like,
Yeah. She thinks that
oh,
shit's hysterical. When you're there's been lots of times when I've been with clients and I've said something that's for them
mm-hmm,
and I've gone, "Oh shit.
mm-hmm,
Oh, I think that piece is for me too."
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it could have easily been for him too, right?
Oh yeah, it's always for them too.
Right. But the
But you know
weight
why
of
the
it.
universe does that? The
Mm-hmm.
universe does that because it forces you to say it out loud. And when you say shit out loud, it makes parts of your insides go, "Oh shit. Yeah, okay."
Because when you speak words, you feel them in your body different.
Correct. That hits different. It hits different when you say it out loud.
So different. I was just like, oh, okay. I have decisions to make. And it was like literally once I said yes, it was like, cool, cancel all of this.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
And and you know, that's kind of like the universe's way of saying, how bad do you want it? It's right here.
How bad do you want what you say you want?
You gotta cancel a bunch of shit to get there. And you
Tell
gotta
me,
do a bunch of uncomfortable shit.
tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
Right? That's hilarious. I love that. Ever since we said that earlier, that's like all I just want to draw this picture of this, galactic like universe. You're going, tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
Literally, literally. But that's literally what it is, right? It's
Waiting for us to put in an order.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because there's things that God will get rid of, but then there's things that He's going to put you in charge of saying no to
Yeah.
and will frustrate the crap out of you.
Ooh, yes.
The crap.
Yeah. And I've also had some conversations with the universe that have sounded a lot like her being frustrated with me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, listen, there are people I need you to help, and you pussyfooting around it because you're scared of being visible or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It started to get real frustrating. I've been like, oh shit, that's fair.
I'm gonna tell you. So, okay, so I was supposed to go to, I mentioned this in the first episode of this month or whatever, that I was supposed to go to California. I was gonna go hang out with Danny before I went to San Francisco for this Region 9 Head Start conference. I had already bought my outfit for what I was gonna present in. Like, cool. I'm literally waiting up to like 2 days before my flight has to leave. And I'm like, I just need this first $100 check to come in from doing like kids yoga. I had contracted with an
Love
agency
that.
out here to do early intervention, like kids yoga.
Love that.
And I was like, okay, I'm just waiting for this to come in. I can deposit it real quick. Bam. I'll have my money to like pay for my luggage, all of that. And then hopefully everything just like skates from there. Right now, the money will come in. I can just head to Cambodia from there. Boom. I went to the mailbox. That day I text you, I went to the mailbox. I checked and I started laughing. And I was like, God, you got jokes.
Yep. He loves it when we make up a plan.
A
Oh,
whole entire
that's
plan.
adorable.
A whole plan.
Look at you planning.
So I was like, well, okay. I guess this was the last thing I needed to cancel. So I went on, I canceled my flight, and I ended up getting flight credit that I used to pay for part of my flight to Cambodia. Canceled my Airbnb, got half of my money back from that. And then I text you. What you did not know was that I had like no money. I literally, like, I think I had just spent whatever I had on like food and like getting to the yoga studio to teach all of that, right? And I still needed to like buy my visa, and the money that I had that I was going to use to get my visa, I needed that to get to the yoga studio my last day teaching. So I was like, okay. But something was just like, you're fine.
Yeah.
Like you're good. I was just like, all right. And like waiting on that to come in. And I was like, okay, I need to text Miranda. Like, because I was trying to do it as early as possible because I didn't want you to have to like pay any like
I know.
cancellation fee or any of that for like the spot. Like, I didn't want to mess you up, right?
Yes.
So I text you the minute I canceled all of that. I text you and told you, whatever needed to take place. And then when you said, "What's your Venmo?" I was like, "What the hell is this?" And after you sent me the money, I was just like, "What?"
Yeah.
I was like, "What just happened?"
Yeah.
Because I literally I used that
Good.
to do my visa, get food. I said, when I get to Cambodia, I'm gonna get her something anyway. Like, that was never
Yeah.
not gonna be a thing.
I
right?
know.
So I'm just like, I'm standing in the kitchen now, and I'm just like, what just happened? And like, your tribe is also part of your obedience,
Mhm.
right? Like I'm still like, sometimes I'm thinking about it and I'm just like, that could like, because I was obedient to saying no, you came through.
Absolutely.
You were in a dream that I had where it was like, okay, this last little leg before I get to like where I'm going, like, because everything I need is going to be there in the dream.
Yeah.
Everything I needed was going to be there. I just had to make sure I had my focus,
Yeah.
right? You were with me coming out of the downstairs like gym at the bottom of the steps. It was literally the steps from Costa Rica,
Oh my
right?
God.
Those
Wait a
god
minute.
awful
The visitors don't know how hard those are.
there were
There
these,
were like 80 steps, and I swear to God, they were straight up.
literally, there was no dip, there was no like it, they were horrible.
They were hard. So I'm at the bottom of the steps with you.
And I just remember seeing your pink hair,
Yeah.
right? But there wasn't a lot of steps. It was like okay, you only got a last little bit of like struggle basically, right? And I'm like picking up my legs at this point to get to the next step. It's literally where I'm at right now. Like, not wits end, but just like, you know what? Like, I'm now, just get me to the airport because I'm like, I'm ready to go, right? But you were there with me at the bottom of the steps. You didn't say anything. You like, you didn't do it. You were just there with me,
Mhm.
right? So it's like, when I think like, just, oh, your tribe is so important.
It is.
Like, those people are important, and the reciprocity is going to be what it needs to be, right?
Yeah.
As long as there's authenticity, as long as there's honesty, as long as there's consideration, like all the, like, I'm learning friendship, I'm learning relationship all over again,
Yeah.
right? And I'm grateful that I have you, I have Carly, I have Devana, I have, oh my God, Sandra, like, I have all, like, literally between Peru and Costa Rica, like, I'm pretty sure I've made like 22 new friends
Yeah.
that I can go in my phone now and shoot a text,
Yep.
right? Like, how, like, there's like, it's never ending,
Yeah.
right? Like, I was telling you earlier, there was a girl from high school had posted something on Instagram. It was one of her girlfriend's birthdays, and like, her and these two, like, all three of these girls, they were a clique in high school, right? Like, not a clique. Oh my God, such a like
Yeah. Yeah.
that word got me in trouble in high school. But they were friends in high school, and it's like, you can still see them, that's like 20 something years right there, right? So
Yeah.
she had posted like 22 years of friendship. Like, I'm so grateful. And like, if this was Ashley from 3 years ago, I would be like, oh my God, like, I don't have any friends. But I'm just like, that's pretty dope. I was like, but in like less than a year, I've made like 22 brand new friends
Yep.
that I like easy without doubt can call family.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, it's different.
And it really is. And there is a way in which, when you messaged me,
Hmm.
cancel, I I have two options. I can be salty about it,
Yeah.
and I could, or I can understand
Yeah.
that the reason you are doing this is important,
Mm.
way more important than me. period.
Mm-hmm.
And I can either be salty or I can tell you to choose you. And it did. And then I sent money on top of it.
Yeah, I feel like this conversation is really making me realize like I have not had enough people in my life make me feel okay to choose myself.
You have to, period. If and I don't know how you're going to edit any of this or what any of this is going to look like, but this
Probably
part,
not.
this part you have to keep in. You guys, you have got to put people around you that will tell you to choose you and will
Yeah.
be happy when they see you do it. Period.
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's officially me season. I'm about to get on everybody's nerves. I just
Love it.
want everybody to know, like, I am fully stepping into the life that I have desired for myself.
Good.
And
Yeah.
I'm grateful that the people who are not stepping in this with me are not with me.
Yeah.
And that the people that are stepping into this with me are with me.
Mm-hmm.
This is like actually kind of crazy. Like I'm grateful for it though.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for it. Wow.
Good.
Wow. Oh.
Oh,
Y'all gonna meet all my friends from the playground.
right? Yeah.
Any final thoughts? Any other little tip? Oh, I got to do my 3 questions with you.
Oh, what are three?
So I do these 3 questions now with people that come on the show with me.
I love it.
If you could lead your life from your soul, what would you do? How would you feel? And where would you be?
What would you do? What would you feel? And where would I be?
Mm-hmm. What would you do? How would you feel? And where would you be? I feel
So,
like you're doing it.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I am. So it would be just because I love helping people.
Yeah.
And so what I would be doing is I would be having the same conversations that I'm having with my clients with just more people. Just as many people as I can.
Yeah.
Uh how would I feel? Is that what one of them was?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I do now. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I would feel like I do now, but turned up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the people that I work with, I get excited for them. I create genuine connections with them.
Yeah.
I hold that space for them. And I get to be excited and watch how they do whatever it is they're going to go out and do. And
Mm-hmm.
so I feel like I would get to feel that just turned up to 11. And where would I be? I really want to be everywhere, which is great and also kind of a problem. Because I only have one physical body. But I would be leading retreats, I think,
Mm.
where I get to do this kind of work, this kind of soul work, this kind of like sit down, shut up and listen kind of work in someplace beautiful
Yeah.
and in a way that's accessible to as many people as possible.
Mm. I love
Because I
that.
feel like one of the things that's very rarely acknowledged is that any time you are talking about self-development, it is a privilege. Anytime you are able to focus on developing yourself, it is a privilege. And so I want to do as much as I can to make this work as accessible to as many people as I can.
Ooh, that's a podcast episode in itself.
Let's do it.
That is, yeah. Wow. Accessibility is, yeah, wow. Self-development is privilege.
Self-development is a privilege.
Yeah.
Because you know what? When I was working 3 jobs and on food stamps and taking care of someone else's babies and doing everything I can to make everyone else around me happy, I didn't have the ability or the time or the bandwidth to stop and develop myself.
Yeah.
Anytime you're in a space where you're talking about self-development, you are talking from a place of privilege.
Yeah. I think that's why, like, the last season that I did, I was very adamant on talking about people really understanding their rights when it comes to taking mental health leaves.
Yeah.
Because people, like, they don't tell you that that's available to you.
Yeah.
I took 3.
Mm-hmm.
You can take one, right? It's disability, right? I also talk about, like, because it's the domino effect, right? In order for you to be able to now have the privilege of doing that, you have to also have relationship with your wellness team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds fancy, it sounds all like sedity, but it's not, right? Like the episode, and y'all can go back to it, where I talk about my wellness team is my primary doctor.
Yep.
We all should have a primary doctor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even I've been on Medicaid before, still had, like, I still was able to keep my same primary doctor, thank God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, starting there, because all these other doctors, right, that like, now we're talking about complete privilege, right? But also, like, it goes into awareness and understanding of, if I don't take care of myself, I can't take care of my family, I can't take care of everybody else that I'm responsible for. I can't do the things that I need to do. I can't do the things that I want to do, right? But if we start with our primary doctor, really have conversation with them around what that looks like, right? Then that doctor will go to bat for you.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully, right? And like, that's the goal. Like, I'm grateful that I have a relationship with my primary, like, now to the point where, like, I just go into the portal and say, hey, I need this, and she's like, cool, I got you, right? Like, so it comes back to what this conversation has been, right? It's relationship,
Yeah.
but putting yourself around those people that will even say to you, listen, like, this is what you can have access to also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Promise me that you'll have me on and we'll do an episode about self-care.
Of course.
Because the thing is, like, none of any of that matters until you choose yourself.
Circling right back.
And that's why you need people around you that tell you to choose you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't choose you and go and do that mental health thing, or go and form that relationship with your primary doctor, or go and do this retreat, or go and even just take a breath.
Right.
Because there are lots of people that's the space that they have in their life right now. And that's fine. And my biggest thing is, like, great, show me the space that you have in your life right now, and we will work with that space.
Yeah.
Because you have to choose you first.
Absolutely.
Right.
Choose you.
Yeah. We got distracted. But choose you and put people around you that want you to choose you.
Choose you and pick people that will allow you to choose you. Yeah. Thank you so much, Danny.
Welcome. Thank you for
I
having me.
love you.
Oh, I love you too so much. I'm so proud
Oh,
of you.
thank you. And we will be right back, my peoples. That was very long, so I'm not going to hold y'all. But it was good. It was fruitful. And we just flowed, right? Like I said, I wanted it to just be a conversation, right? Nothing fluffy, nothing, just welcome to the world of Love Ashley Elaine, right? Yeah, make sure you guys are choosing people that not only choose you but allow you to also choose you. I think that was my biggest takeaway as I'm relearning relationship, how I show up in relationship and friendship, and how important my tribe is and how important I am to those people in my tribe. Yeah, so I love y'all for free. Until next time.